Well, I grew up in Saskatchewan. Creelman was my hometown. I moved into Weyburn when I was 15 for junior B hockey. They had junior B hockey in those days. It was but the junior Red Wings, like the Weyburn Red Wings, were the team that we were affiliated with. Played all the sports. Hockey was the only one for youngsters really in the wintertime. And then in the summertime, baseball was the big sport, but we played soccer at school, but we didn't have a community team in soccer. And we played a little bit of football, like rugby type football. We had a team at school that played in a highway league, for a while. Uh, but I would say the big sports in my community is like in all of rural agricultural Western Canada, the only sports that mattered were baseball, hockey, and curling for the older people. But I wasn't involved as a youngster. Well, they were organized but most of the time we played unorganized sports, but we did have a hockey team in our little town starting at 8 years old that played against other towns up and down Highway 33 in Saskatchewan. Goes from Regina down to Stoughton, so different little towns would have a hockey team. Same with baseball, at different age levels, they'd have a baseball team, highway league. And then once you got a little older, say 14, 15, then there'd be more regional teams in those two sports. Well, I played forward, and I guess it's because when I first started to play, by the time I got to play on a team, which is 8 years old, I was a decent skater. I handled the puck really pretty well for compared to the other kids anyhow. So decision was made that I should play forward and try to score most of the goals. Oh yeah. Uh, I think the biggest thing I remember about playing in Creelman was that the ice was available to us many hours in a week. Like basically, the rink was available to us every day except Sunday. And if there were no people who wanted to skate, that is to say, we were allowed to take our sticks out there anytime we wanted, unless there were primarily girls who just wanted to skate. Then we had to take the sticks off. But the rink was open from 4 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 o'clock at night, and then all day Saturday, not on Sunday. But we had a lot of unorganized time on the ice for the 8 or 10 or 12 kids that really wanted to go out there. And then we had these teams, and the thing I remember was how good-natured the people were who coached our team. This is just my opinion. I think one of the things I liked about the hockey I grew up with is it was something separate from the school. The school people had no authority over us at that point at all. It was all community volunteers. The two coaches I had, one over the course of 6 or 7 years, one was an elevator agent, ran the elevator in town, and one was the guy who had the hardware store. And it was about as good as you could get. Like they were happy to be with us. They tried to encourage us as much as possible. So that's what you really need at that age. Well, it was pretty rudimentary, but it was equipment. Like I think I can remember having. I think it seems to me I always had a pretty good pair of skates. My mom and dad would buy me a pair of skates that fit. That's a big thing. As far as the shin pads and things like that were concerned, the protective equipment was probably a little bit weak, but the stick and the skates that I had were always good ones by the standards of that time. That I'm talking about the 50s. So certainly the sticks especially would be pretty substandard by today's patterns. No, I think these were all local people, and so in Saskatchewan there, the people that I played with were local guys around Creelman there. Dickey was a prominent name around there. Stan Gregg was the coach, and he had a boy playing hockey but a little younger than me. And up and down the line, there were lots of good players. and Fillmore and Sedley, and so some of these guys would go on to play maybe college hockey or junior hockey, you know. But I think from Creelman, the Motts and Blackburns are the ones that seem to come to mind as people who ended up playing serious hockey. Just with other local towns, you know, on Highway 33 there. There's probably Sedley, Francis, Stout, and Fillmore, Creelman. We were always battling each other at different age levels.